8 days at any Kansas City area Hy-Vee now through June 7th. Together, we can fight childhood cancer one cup at a time.
Every weekday beginning at 6 a.m., Stephen St. John kicks off your morning with New Day with SSJ. Then at 10, get in the zone with Jason Anderson. And at 2, listen to the program with Soren Petro, Kansas City's favorite sports talk. Only on America's largest all-sports radio station, Sports Radio 810 WHB, the power of sports. KCFX HD4 Harrisonville, K279PI Kansas City, 103.7 FM. Sports Radio 810 WHB, Kansas City.
America's largest all-sports radio station presents the number one motorsports show for over 2 decades, Track Talk, brought to you by Rod-In Supply and the Power Ride Midwest Lightning Sprints. Here are the racing boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. It's all brought to you by Rod-In Supply, featuring the Power Ride Midwest Lightning Sprints. Kirk, we got a great show today, don't we?
We do. We've got Superman on the show today, Jonathan Davenport.
He picked up the win last night.
He did. He won one of the twin features at the Dirt Late Model Dream at Eldora Speedway last night. We spoke with Jonathan on Monday on Mostly Motorsports Show, and we're going to replay some of that interview coming up here in just a little bit.
He took the lead on lap 9 last night.
Yeah, he was. They were really hustling to get through all that program before it rained. I don't know how they got the show in, but they got it in. Jonathan Davenport rallying back from a bad night racing of America on Wednesday. He had a really bad night. They had to bring out a backup car. They had to do a lot of work on his off day on Thursday, come back on his qualifying night, and he looked like the Jonathan Davenport of old last night.
RTJ had the lead for a minute there, didn't he?
Yeah, he tried to pull a big old slider on Jonathan, but Jonathan Davenport is the master of Eldora Speedway. Ricky Thornton Jr., who's the defending Lucas Oil late model champion, has still yet to win a big crown jewel race at Eldora. I think Davenport knows Eldora a little bit better than RTJ right now.
I was really surprised by Mike Marlar's accident last night.
Well, I was surprised by a lot of the accidents last night. Mikey has struggled this year.
The second feature was really a cluster of wrecks, wasn't it?
Yeah, we had 2 cars get upside down.
Right.
You don't normally see dirt late models get upside down. We had 2 of them get upside down in the same race last night.
Right.
Including one of them, the Will Harrington was leading that race earlier, and he got upside down, but I don't know what happened to Carson Ferguson, but he got up into the loose stuff. That curb was gnarly at Eldora Speed. It got a lot of rain out there, and so the curb, which you don't normally see at Eldora Speedway, was I've heard you use this word, gnarly. That's what it was. You got up into that stuff, you're in trouble. We had Carson Ferguson get upside down, and so did Will Harrington.
Josh Rice picked up the second win, didn't he?
He did. He was very impressive. Josh Rice in the number 11 car, and this is not one of the big teams out there in dirt late model racing, but he had it figured out last night. He fended off Bobby Pierce, which I think that shocked everybody. But one of the commentators on the broadcast last night, I think it was Randy Weaver, said that Bobby Pierce had lost a wheel cover on the car, and maybe it got full of dirt and he started bouncing around. But Pierce also got into that incident when Carson Ferguson got upside down. He also made contact there, so Bobby Pierce may have had a damaged race car last night, and that may have what kept him from, running down Josh Rice and winning that race. But Pierce still ended up in second place.
Right.
As damaged as his car might have been, he still ended up second. But Tyler Erb was the guy that I thought was going to run away and hide in that race, but he got up into the loose stuff too, and he backed up 3 or 4 positions. he was able, he even made contact with the wall, but he was still able to finish in third place. So Turbo, who looked like he was going to win the race last night, ended up in third place. Nick Hoffman and Dalton Wilson, your top five, in a race that I think everybody was surprised even got started, let alone finished all 50 laps of that race. So they got it in before the weather moved in.
I think the biggest upset of the week is, what's his name? Travis?
What's his name? His name is Travis Aarons.
Aarons?
He wins the $26,000 Race Routine Foundation race at 141 Speedway.
Picks up
$26,000. Yeah, I think that shocked everybody. But, that's a unique racetrack up there at 141 Speedway. I'd never seen the track before.
Right.
But it's kind of an egg shape.
It was the first time they raced there in how many years? 20 years.
I don't think they've ever raced a high-limit race at 141 speed. Now, last night at Plymouth was the first time that they'd been there for a long time. Was it 20 years?
20 years.
So the World of Outlaws were at Plymouth Speedway last night. We'll get into that here in just a little bit. But Travis Aarons, on a racetrack he was probably more familiar with than anybody, is kind of weird because he was the first guy out to qualify. And so he laid down a good lap right away. And as the qualifying went on, the track got slower. And so he started off his night in great shape and was able to, get a good starting spot in the A main. He didn't make the dash, but he was right there starting in fifth. Well, he did make the dash. I'm sorry. He did make the dash. So he started fifth in the A main, and he was as far back as sixth for quite a lot of that race before he found the bottom of the racetrack.
Right.
It looked like, and you pointed this out when we were watching it a little bit earlier, Scott, it looked like it took on a little bit of rubber down on the bottom.
It did. It took on a little bit of rubber.
But he didn't get off the bottom. It was very narrow in turns 1 and 2 and wide in 3 and 4, but he just committed to the bottom. And that served him well, and he was able to get past Bill Baylog. And once he got out in front, there was nobody had anything for him the rest of the way. And Travis Aarons comes through with probably the biggest upset that we've seen in sprint car racing for I don't know how long. That was a huge upset. I'll be honest with you, Scott, I'd never even heard of Travis Aarons.
Right.
Before Thursday night.
He beat a lot of great guys. Tanner Thorson, Bill Baylog, Brent Marks, Scotty Thiel, and Dason Pursley.
But some of the drivers we're not even talking about. Rico Abreu had to come out of the B main. And you also had
about
problems with the point leaders in that race. Tyler Courtney and Brad Sweet both had issues.
Talk about Buddy Kofoid and Rico getting together.
That was last night. Plymouth Dirt Track, site of the World of Outlaws last night. Rico Abreu winning his second race of the week. He won once on the High Limit Series at Red Cedar Raceway on Wednesday night. And then last night, he joins the World of Outlaws for a night at Plymouth Dirt Track. And his car got completely sideways when Buddy tried to pull a slider on him. How did he save that car, Scott?
Hey, let me tell you something. Kyle Larson took a hell of a flip last night.
Something broke on his rear end or something. I don't know what happened.
The axle broke on it.
But he was just running second, trying to chase down Rico, minding his own business, going into turn number 1. All of a sudden, it snapped and up against the fence he went. That was a little bit scary, Scott.
That was really scary.
That fence, by the way, at Plymouth Dirt Track is a great fence. That thing held up. They didn't have to do any fixing to the fence at all. Great fence at Plymouth Dirt Track, but that was a pretty sudden stop for Kyle last night. He was able to crawl out of that car, but I'm sure Rick Hendrick and Jeff Gordon and everybody else watching that last night had to be a little bit nervous when Kyle's car was sitting upside down.
That they cringed probably when
Yeah,
they saw
don't you-
that.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah. But, Kyle admitted himself when he jumped out of the race car, that was a pretty vicious hit.
Right.
And, but this is sprint car racing. Things can happen in a hurry, and something broke on the car. I don't think we really know for sure what, but something in the rear end. The wheel came off the car, Scott.
Right.
Was it the left rear wheel that went flying off that race car?
It was.
I mean, you're piling into the first turn,
It
doing
broke
100
an
mile
axle.
an hour. That's,
It broke an
yeah.
axle, Kurt.
So that can happen.
Right.
But I'm glad Kyle's okay, and he's on to Michigan now for the weekend.
He ended up 23rd.
Yeah. So anyway, Rico's had a good week, despite not getting a good start and not good finish on Thursday night's Race Routine Foundation race, which he had won the previous two races at I-70 last year included. Not able to make it 3 in a row in the Race Routine Foundation race, but Travis Aarons is the big winner. And then last night, Rico wins his second race of the week. Rico, he's running pretty well right now, really, isn't he?
Speaking of I-70 Speedway, grass has grown over the entire track.
Yeah. Well, we reported this a few weeks ago that nothing's happening until it gets out of the courts. So there's still going to be no racing at I-70 Speedway for a while. I hope that there's racing there in the future, and there is a possibility that might be the case if Steve Bailey is able to purchase out Chris Payne's portion of the facility. Then Steve Bailey would
Do
like
you
to keep
think
things
Steve
going out there, but
Bailey
I don't think you're going to see anything this
You
year.
think Steve Bailey and Chris Payne are going to work it out?
I hope so. I think for the good of everybody, they just need to. I don't know where it's going to end up, but it's they're still fighting it out in the courts. Chris Payne sued Steve Bailey
Right.
last year, about a year ago,
Right.
and so this is all tied up right now. And I don't know.
Grass is completely grown over the entire racetrack.
I'm sure that Scott Higgs and Blake Housley and all the folks at the Flying H Dirt
Todd?
the drag strip are not happy about what's going on there either, because it does affect them since their drag strip facility is sitting nearby. So I think they hope better than anybody that things get worked out. And I think it's all up to Chris Payne at this point.
Right.
So we'll find out. No more news to report on that. And it's sad that we're not seeing racing at I-70 Speedway, but hopefully, if you keep our fingers crossed, that Steve Bailey can, buy out and own that track all by himself, then we could see racing return there on a shorter I-70 racetrack. But I don't think we're going to see anything happen this year.
I think they were racing out there last night out there
At Flying H Drag Strip.
yes, sir.
Yeah, which is a beautiful facility.
Yeah, midnight
Drag race.
midnight showdown is what they had going on last.
They want to get a national event out there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think
well,
they will. I think it's
we're
going to
looking
happen,
at-
but there's
You
still a lot
think
of work
so?
to be done.
Yeah, they'll get it.
There's still a lot of work to be done to the facility
Look
to
how
make
nice
that
that
happen.
looks there,
but it's
though.
going to happen.
That looks really nice.
Not this year. No NHRA national event at Flying H this year, but we'll keep our fingers crossed. Maybe it'll be on next year's calendar. We'll just have to wait and see how everything works out. But right now, I haven't heard any more information about what is going on between Chris Payne and Steve Bailey, the co-owners of the I-70 dirt track, which is separate and apart from Flying H Drag Strip, which is owned by Scott Higgs. So there's a lot at play there. We'll try to keep you updated as best we can as we move forward, but nothing new to report. Had a good time at Knoxville last Saturday night, Scott. We had the non-wing USAC sprint cars. Kevin Thomas Jr. winning by doing his best impression of Danny Lasowski riding the bottom of the racetrack. He's hugging the bottom of the racetrack, and it worked out great for him. We've got KTJ on the show coming up here in a little bit. We'll hear from him talking about his big win at Knoxville, $15,000. And Ryan Timms does it again in a wing sprint car. He swept the weekend, 360s on Friday night
And
410s
410
on Saturday night. And then he goes to Houston Speedway on Saturday night and wins up there. So he'll be back at Knoxville tonight. And Ryan has agreed to come on Monday's Mostly Motorsports show. So we're going to have Ryan Timms on the show coming up on Monday. He is on fire right now at Knoxville and Houston's.
You know, it's really great to see him win a 360 sprint car race and a 410 sprint car race.
Yeah. And he just smoked him on Saturday night in the 410. He didn't start up front. He was starting back, about the third row, but he was just clearly the faster race car on Saturday night, and he had him covered. Now, things get a little bit more difficult when you go on the national tour, and so he was at Jackson on Wednesday night, which, by the way, was won by Carson Macedo, and things get a little bit tougher when he goes on the national tour. But, hey, I would not rule Ryan Timms out when they go to the High Bank Nationals at Houston Speedway here in a couple of weeks. Ryan Timms could be a player up there. I would not count him out. Oh, by the way, Carson Macedo muscles by Kerry Madsen at Jackson on Wednesday night to win in the World of Outlaws up there. So, man, we had a lot of midweek racing this week to watch.
Todd, if you go to I-70 Speedway page, you might get the look of the racetrack.
I'll check it out again.
All right.
Well, I don't like looking at that. That just brings back too many memories of the old I-70 Speedway when trees were growing up in the creek.
Right.
I don't want to see that again. So, it's no surprise that the I-70 dirt track probably is not being maintained. I mean, Casey Schumann, the former general manager, he's now working at Lucas Oil Speedway, so they don't have anybody hired to do anything at the I-70 dirt track. Who's going to maintain all of that up there when it's all tied up in court, Scott? Who's really in charge? There's nobody doing anything there, so that's what's going to happen.
I'm looking at the look at that, Todd.
Yeah.
That's way long
That's
time
the old
ago.
days, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or
2021.
yeah, we don't want to confuse anybody. Were you looking at the old pictures, Scott?
No,
Okay.
I was looking at it, the new pictures.
Okay.
I'm not finding any new pictures, so maybe.
I think you were looking at the old photos
Yeah.
No, I
from the way back.
a lady posted up some pictures of the I-70 Speedway.
Yeah.
Some recent pictures.
I gotcha. Yeah. Well, we don't.
Okay.
I don't have
I didn't
access.
see 'em.
Yeah, I don't have access to her Facebook page, so I tried bringing that up, but I couldn't find those on there.
All right.
So anyway, we got dirt late models at Eldora Speedway this weekend. We got sprint cars tonight at Beaver Dam. Tomorrow night at the Sun Prairie, Wisconsin, Angel Park Speedway. Sunday night. And but no midgets. Indiana Midget Week, supposed to be hot and heavy. The last two nights have been rained out. Last night at Bloomington, the night before.
Do you think it's going to
Park
get rained
Speedway,
out?
Both rained out tonight. They're supposed to be at Hobstadt tomorrow night at Kokomo. But the last two nights for the USAC Indiana Midget Week, not so much. Mother Nature.
Do you think
stepping
it's
in
going to
there.
get rained out at Knoxville tonight?
I hope not. I haven't seen what the weather forecast is up there tonight, so hope they get it in. Keep our fingers crossed with that. So stay tuned to racingboys.com. We'll try to keep you up to date on all of that. Last night they had the Bob Reber Memorial Race at Lakeside Speedway. John Sheets wins the B-Mod feature event. They had 20 B-Mod cars at Lakeside last night, so that's not a bad turnout. Chad Clancy, Aaron Morant,
You can
Terry
find that-
Schultz, and Nick Binninger rounding out the top five. Tim Carrick finishing in sixth. Other winners last night, Chris DeShong in USRA stock cars, Tim Billings in pure stocks, and Corey Myers in the E-Mods. Tonight at Central Missouri Speedway, they're going to pay $3,500 to win the B-Mods at CMS tonight. I'll bet they get a
I'm
good
thinking
number
about
of
going
B-Mods
down there.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about going down there tonight.
Yeah, I think that they're going to get a pretty good number of B-Mods paying that kind of money tonight. So we'll keep our eyes on that.
$3,500. That's a big payday.
For B-Mods, that is.
It is.
So here in a couple of, was 4th of July weekend, the Tom Wilson Memorial. We'll be checking that out. We'll be talking about that here coming up in the next few weeks. So we got a lot of big races. It's the month of June, and, summertime is here, and we're going to see racing just about every night, aren't we?
Right.
NASCAR at Michigan Speedway this weekend. Last weekend, Ryan Blaney finally won. He finally got a win.
Your pick finally win.
Yeah. So I don't have to pick him anymore since he finally won.
So who are you going to pick this week, Kurt?
I haven't thought about it yet.
You haven't thought about it yet?
It's Michigan. Who normally runs well at Michigan? Larson?
Kyle Larson.
You think he might?
Christopher Bell is my pick.
I have to think about that. We got to make our picks, right, Todd? So we just got to.
Yeah, we'll take care of that in the final segment. So we'll take a break here pretty quick and come back and get that Jonathan Davenport interview in, which was kind of a surprise for us on our Mostly Motorsports. We didn't expect him as our guest on our episode, and then he texted back and said he was ready to come on the show. So
well, I'd reached out to him, and I never heard back. And then during the show, he said, "You still want me on?"
So yes, we
right.
do.
Yep.
So good to get Jonathan Davenport on the show. He was on Monday. We'll hear from that interview coming up here in just a couple of minutes.
Yeah, that was episode 362, if you want to go back and find that.
Track Talk is brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. When we come back, Jonathan Davenport's going to join us next right here on Mostly our Track Talk.
Track Talk. Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
2 minutes, 30 seconds, gentlemen. 2:30.
10-4.
At the Kansas City Zoo and Aquarium. Don't miss the brand new Dinosaurs Around the World exhibit produced by Imagine, running now through August 24th. Life-sized animatronic dinosaurs will be located throughout the top side of the zoo, all included in your zoo general admission or membership. Grab a dino checklist as you enter the zoo to ensure you find them all. Learn more and plan your visit today at kansascityzoo.org.
Hello, it's Mark Whitlow from Office Products Alliance. As we embark on our 32nd year of serving our local community, OPA would like to say thank you, Kansas City. Supporting local businesses and our community is more important than ever. Small business is the heart of our city and country. OPA has branched out into the cabling and IT space. These two offerings partner well with our core business, office products and office furniture. Check out our new opportunities at opakc.com. Let's keep it local, KC.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks Scratch Kitchen scores every time. Dig into hand-smashed burgers, chef-inspired flatbreads, and more at your local lodge.
Paid for 1 minute. Board decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results, and every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
After my car wreck, there was a lot I didn't know.
I do know. My team knows injury law. We can help you understand all of your legal rights so that you don't get cheated.
DM Law knew what to do and got me $500,000.
Mike's got this. If you've been hurt in a car wreck, call me. I've got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this. Father's Day is Sunday, June 18th. Give your dad the gift of style with a gift card to Geno's Clothiers. Now through Father's Day, you can purchase a $400 gift card for just $300. Geno's Clothiers has the best brands and latest styles. They pride themselves on offering unmatched quality and customer service along with the best selection of menswear in Kansas City. Don't forget, Geno's is Kansas City's exclusive retailer of St. Croix collections. For unmatched quality and customer service, come to Geno's, 5256 West 116th Place and Park Place in Leawood, or genosclothiers.com.
Welcome back to Track Talk. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. Jonathan Davenport is going to join us right now. Todd, are you ready for it?
He is going for his third straight Dirt Late Model Dream tonight at Eldora Speedway. Pays $100,000 to win.
Kirk, we got some sad news.
Well, I don't have that yet. I'll talk about that here in a little bit. But Jonathan Davenport, we spoke with on Monday on Mostly Motorsports, and here's a little bit of that conversation we had with one of the big dirt late model drivers in the country, Jonathan Davenport. Before we talk about Eldora, let's recap the Show Me 100. You had a great race car down there. You didn't quite get to victory lane, but you came close. But still a pretty solid showing at Wheatland last weekend.
Yeah, we had a good showing. It's been a year of seconds so far this year. I think we've had like 12 seconds. So not exactly what we want, but it's better than having 12 thirds. So we're almost getting there. We never did really break through and win anything that weekend for the show. I mean, we had 3 races there, but we had top 5 runs all 3 nights, so nothing to hang your head about.
And Lucas Oil Speedway has been a racetrack you run really well at here over the last few years. It seems to me like that the dirt that they added to Lucas Oil Speedway last year, I think it was, really helped that surface. We don't see it rubber down like it used to, do we?
Well, they continue to do track prep throughout the night for sure. And the last 2 years for the Show Me weekend, we've gotten rain over the night and throughout in the morning time. So that definitely helped put moisture further down in it, things like that. But yeah, they've changed the banking on it a little bit this year than what it has been in the prior. Shaped it a little bit different, but seems to still race pretty good.
Why is Eldora Speedway fit your driving style so well? You've won a lot of races there.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. Just a big momentum place, really, I guess. Seem to fit my style a little bit better than a smaller stop and go type places. But it's just a place that you have to plan for later on in the race. You got to be easy on your tires, and you got to be smart with the setup on your car. And 100 laps is a long time at Eldora, so you can't get too anxious and burn your stuff up in the first 50.
Especially a 100-lap race, right? You got to be patient, don't you?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's just it's all about tire preservation there and keeping the spoiler on it. And then if you run around the inside wall, not hit the inside wall, and not knock the toe out or something like that. So it's just not putting yourself in bad positions that you can help, until the very end. That way you got the best race cars possible the last, 20, 25 laps that you did whenever you started the night.
That, I think it was 2022, you won the $1 million race at Eldora Speedway, a $2 million year. Just to kind of describe just how monumental winning that one race was, and that total season was just epic. Just to kind of it's been 3 years, but boy, that was some season you had there.
Yeah, it really was. We had a great year that year with the Lance Landers Motorsports, and winning winning the Eldora Million will always obviously be probably on the top of my career highlights. So once in a lifetime race and once in a lifetime opportunity to race for that much money in a dirt late model.
Talk about changing teams.
Well, that in 2015 you drove for that was another epic year, but it was a different team you drove for back then, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I drove for Kevin and Leroy Rumley. That's when Mr. Leroy was still alive, and we had a really good year that year. I drove for them for 3 years there, and just got where Leroy couldn't go out on the road as much, and Kevin didn't want to race as much as what I needed to have a career in just racing. You know, I really didn't do anything else. That's all I do for income. So they wanted to back down a little bit, not race as much. So then I went to a different team at that point.
All right, you've been with Lance and Darla Landers now for quite a number of years now. What's it like driving for Lance Landers? They're real racing people, aren't they?
Yeah, sure. I mean, he's just like a best friend than a car owner. You know, we get along very good. Hadn't had too many arguments at all, if any, and
right.
Yeah, we're just cut from the same cloth. So we like to hunt and fish together when we have time. He runs a couple very successful businesses, and I'm always racing. But whenever we both get a chance, we try to hang out and do stuff for fun to try to get away from the serious world so much.
Nutrien Ag Solutions. That's big to have on your race car, isn't it?
Absolutely. They're more of a partner than a sponsorship. They've been with Lance before I was ever there when the company was Crop Production Services, before they bought out a couple other companies and then merged and become Nutrien Ag Solutions. So we have a great guy there with Steve Martin, and who loves coming to the races and likes to see us succeed.
What do you think is your biggest win of the year so far, or this year?
Probably so far it was the final night at Volusia. I don't know if that's the most paying money we've won this year, but it was Volusia is not a place where I generally do very well, but we had a great speed weeks down there, and then ended up winning the last night. That I think it paid $20,000 that night. So I think we've won a couple other races, a 20 and a 30 this year, but that one there was definitely pretty special.
You got a special race car you race at Eldora? I was told that you had one car you like to take to Eldora and nowhere else. Is that true?
Yeah, that's true. Just that place means a lot to me, and I've got a pretty good feel for that place. And a couple of times earlier in my career, I'd have a really good car, and then I'd take it there and run really good, and then go somewhere else and get it tore up. And so finally I've just decided whenever I got a really good car there, I just would put it back. And luckily I have a great car owner with Lance Landers that allowed me to do that. And so we have a car that we've ran there since 2021, and that's the only place we've ever took it. Besides, we did take it last year to Pennsylvania Motor Speedway in Pittsburgh, and other than that, that's the only place it's ever been.
You're a 3-time Lucas Oil late model champion. What are your thoughts about this format that you got to make the top 4 in the last few races? What do you think about all that?
I mean, I don't know. It's okay. There's pros and cons to everything. It definitely makes it a little bit more exciting. The last few races, they done the playoff, so to speak, a little different last year than they did the year before. So we had an opportunity to win it both years, and had motor problems in the race at Eldora at the Dirt Track World Championship that pretty much took us out of the championship for that. So it's it's nice to be able to go in there and have a chance to run for the championship, even though you've not had a stellar year all the way to that point, or it could be on the flip side of that, you've had a stellar year all the way, and then the last race, you could have one problem that could ruin your whole season as far as the points go. So, like I said, there's pros and cons to all of it, but it's whatever they want to do, and we'll follow along.
I mean, there's a lot of big money races in dirt late model racing, isn't there?
Yeah, we're definitely very fortunate to have the fans and the following that we all have to be able to run for these big purses. We have to have the fans in the stands and the streaming at home to be able to put on these big shows. So we're very fortunate to have the backing of everybody in a couple different countries and all across the United States, obviously, to want to watch us.
And you got that Flow Racing Night in America coming. What night is that? Wednesday or that's coming up? That's a big money race too, isn't it?
Yeah, so we'll race Wednesday night, and then they're doing a different format. This is the second year they've done it for the Dream, so they actually split the field up to one part of the field runs Thursday night, the other part of the field runs Friday night, and then we'll all meet back together on Saturday for those 6 heat races.
What night you running? Thursday or Friday?
We'll race on Friday night.
That conversation was Monday, mostly motorsports shows, so a lot of things have happened since then. We need to update everybody. First of all, his cherished Eldora Speedway car that he's only run at Eldora since 2021 got crashed. Had an incident in hot laps on the Flow night on Wednesday night. Didn't do well there. Had to bring out a backup car. And so since they didn't have to race on Thursday, they spent all day Thursday getting that car dialed in close to what his prized Eldora car that got wrecked on Wednesday night was, and they got it close. He came out, qualified well last night, and then he wins the $30,000 preliminary race last night. So it seems like all is well, even though he doesn't have his cherished Eldora Speedway car that he's run the last 4 years. They got this new car pretty close. That he's a player now. They did a lot of hard work on that car, and it's ready to go tonight, Scott. And we don't know for sure what the lineup is going to be for the 100-lapper tonight. It all depends on how these heat races go. There is the spin that Jonathan Davenport had last night to determine the invert, and it looks like it's going to be, is it 5? I think they drew the 5. So he's going to be...
that track was a little rough last night, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, they'd had a lot of rain out there at Eldora Speedway.
Right.
So, I mean, it's...
the cushion was a little gnarly, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was wicked. You didn't want to get up into the cushion at Eldora, so... We'll see what kind of shape that track's in. But there was some great racing last night. I don't know how many lead changes we saw in the second feature last night, but we saw a ton of lead changes. Josh Rice ended up winning that race, but and he also won $30,000. So congratulations to those two guys. But it seems as though, a lot of things happened since we spoke with Jonathan on Monday, that they've got the new 49 car dialed in to where you can't count out Superman for making it 3 in a row tonight. That is for sure.
Jonathan Davenport is one of the best late model racers in the country, isn't he?
I think one of the best of all time. Don't you think?
I would agree with that.
He's a 3-time Lucas Oil late model champion. He's won 3 dirt late model dreams, including 2 straight. He's won 5 World 100s. He's won every other kind of crown
late
jewel
model
event
race
in dirt late model racing. So he's right up there with the best of all time. I think you still have to place Scott Bloomquist and Billy Moyer by themselves at the top right now on the Mount Rushmore. But Jonathan Davenport is right there, no question.
How many times has he won down at Lucas Oil Speedway?
He's won two Show Me 100s down there. He won in 2015, and then he won, not this year, but last year.
Kirk
he won the
is,
Show Me 100.
Kirk,
and then last year he won all the other races that they had on the schedule at Lucas Oil. So he's been really good at Lucas Oil Speedway.
Kirk is the best at pulling up stats. Do you know that, Kirk?
I'm not the best at anything, really.
You are. Your knowledge is supreme, Kirk. Do you know that?
Well, I appreciate you saying that, but there's a lot more smarter people than I am, Scott.
No, not in my eyes, Kirk. Listen, I'm really sickened by the look at I-70 Speedway right now.
Boy, that's first and foremost on your mind this morning, isn't it?
It is.
Well, hopefully
the grass has completely grown over the racetrack.
Well, it's not. We just raced on it last year, Scott. It's not out of control yet, but I hope they get things solved out.
You know, when they lost Casey Schumann, they lost a really good person.
Well, they just,
Casey Schumann's down at Lucas Oil Speedway right now.
He's got a great job at Lucas Oil Speedway. Hey, but speaking of Lucas Oil Speedway, too much rain down. They're supposed to have the flat track motorcycles tonight.
They canceled it.
Not going to happen. Too much rain down there all week, and too much, and that's saying something at Lucas Oil Speedway. So, if you're looking at watching the flat track motorcycles tonight, not going to happen. It's been rescheduled for July 18th. So mark that on your calendar. Also, you brought up some sad news, and we really hate to talk about this kind of stuff, but our old friend Willie Harmon is one of the great friends of our show from way back. I understand is in hospice right now.
That's sad.
According to Larry Waters, who put a post up there, we're thinking about you, Willie. You are one of our great
listeners,
fans and listeners from back in the day. Willie Harmon, say your prayers for him today. We're thinking about you.
I can't thank Willie enough for. He listened to our show all the time, didn't he?
Called in the show.
Yep.
So, anyway, we got Kevin Thomas Jr. coming up, part one of his interview that we had on Monday. He was the winner at Knoxville last Saturday night, picked up the $15,000 to win Corn Belt Clash. He's racing midgets this week. Had a pretty good finish the other night, but last two nights rained out in Indiana Midget Week, and hopefully it sounds like everything is good for Kokomo tonight. Or it's tomorrow night is Kokomo. Tonight is Hopstadt. So they got two more nights on the calendar to try to get those other Indiana Midget Week. I think they rescheduled last night's rain out at Bloomington for August 29th. I'm not sure they've set a rain out date for or a makeup date for Thursday night's rain out at Lincoln Park Speedway, but tonight is a go at Hopstadt, and tomorrow night at Kokomo. And Kevin Thomas Jr. will be there, but we'll hear from KTJ coming up here in just a little bit.
All right. Track Talk is all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. Kevin Thomas Jr. is going to join us next here on Track Talk.
Track Talk. Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Hi, this is Toby. You got 3 minutes, gentlemen, 3 minutes.
10 for it.
Hello, Toby.
Holy cow, you've done it again.
We've done it again, Toby. We won the President's Award again this year. This is the 22nd time we've been awarded this awesome honor from Ford Motor Company.
But what is the President's Award?
The President's Award is the top award Ford Motor.
And your outro music is going to hit at 56:51. I'll give you a 2 minute at 55:51.
Perfect.
Award for the 22nd time.
It covers the whole works at Lewisburg Ford.
Absolutely, and it's a testament to the awesome people we have working at Lewisburg Ford and helping our customers, and it really shows with this award because it's only a few dealers that get it, and we've done it 22 times.
I guarantee you this is the best place to buy a Ford car or truck in the Midwest.
Absolutely. You couple that President's Award lineage with our no-hassle Toby Tobin pricing, it does not get any better than that.
What is your toll-free number?
816-444-2300.
Or LewisburgFord.com.
Does your website boost your business like it should? A business needs a complete online strategy. Digital Lagoon has been providing new or refreshed websites, social media campaigns, targeted ads, and website search optimization since 1995. Union Broadcasting has trusted Digital Lagoon for our website and printing needs. They created the website for our sister station, ESPN 1510, and we couldn't be more pleased. Give Jordan a call and let him provide a free analysis of your digital footprint. Contact him at digitallagoon.com today.
It's June, and you know what that means. It's Dairy Month at your Hen House Market. That's right, from creamy local milk and artisan cheeses to fresh yogurt and rich ice cream. Hen House is your destination for all things dairy. And this month, they're serving up delicious recipes from the Bari Girls and Chef Jasper Miraboli. Celebrate Dairy Month the local way, only at Hen House Market, where quality and Kansas City come together. Hen House Market, their family, serving your family and mine for over 100 years. Now 100% locally owned.
Eat well, give back.
1 minute.
June, Red Door Grill is proud to partner with Nourish KC, supporting local efforts to fight hunger in the neighborhoods we call home. Each Wednesday, a portion of sales at Red Door will help provide nutrition, dignity, and hope to folks right here in the metro. When you sit down at Red Door, you're not just part of a table, you're part of a community that cares. Visit reddoorgrill.com to plan your visit to any of our 6 KC locations.
This is the NBA Finals.
Shot up good with 0.3 of a second to go. Halliburton does it again. How does he do it?
The pace is still game 1 in Oklahoma City. How will the Thunder respond?
We've been in the situation before. We handled it well. We were better for game 2, and that's the goal.
The NBA Finals are on. Sports Radio 810, WHB.
Welcome back. Track Talk. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. Kevin Thomas Jr. is going to join us next here on Track Talk.
Very interesting guy. He's a long-time racer in open-wheel racing. Won a lot of big non-wing sprint car races over the years. He's a 2-time Indiana Sprint Week champion. He's won some big races like the Tony Hillman Classic, the Oval Nationals, and now he can add the Corn Belt Clash at Knoxville Raceway to his resume. We talked with Kevin Thomas Jr. on Monday's Mostly Motorsports show, and here's part 1 of that conversation. You look like Danny Lasowski going around Knoxville right there hugging the bottom of the racetrack. That seemed to be the way to go for most of that race. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I don't know if I'd put me in his category. He does in a wing car. It's a lot harder than a wing car. But, the track, was kind of shaping up. And I think, having to run the wing car B main showed me a lot of where the track was going to go, too. So that was a little bit of an advantage, just getting some more laps out there. And, the car was perfect, man.
So the bottom was more dominant with the non-wing cars than it was with the wing cars, wasn't it?
Yeah, it felt like it. I think it was fairly wide for a little bit, but the top around, both corners it's just a long ways around, and I felt like there's such a lot of grip, maybe not through the corners, but the grip from off corner to down the straightaway, you made so much more straightaway speed. So it's a little bit of a cat and mouse there. I feel like the advantage was, being on the bottom.
That 15K, that was pretty good win, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm not going to complain about it. That's for sure.
Right.
We might eat more than ramen noodles this week.
Right.
That's right. You're going to jump in a midget here coming up. We'll talk more about that here in just a little bit, but more about the weekend. What did you learn most about Friday night? How much different was Friday night than Saturday night?
I mean, I feel like they were fairly similar, especially on the bottom. The bottom off of 4 was a bit thinner on Friday, but the top was a lot lower in both corners. We were probably 3 car widths lower on the first night, so it was a little bit easier to run the top. Obviously, it makes it a shorter way around, and the cushion was different too. You could abuse it a little bit more. It was a little more forgiving. The cushion on Saturday was starting to lip up and getting hard to run, and you make mistakes, and if you make mistakes there, it really kills all your momentum, and that's basically what you're basing your whole lap off of. So it just takes a lot to get that back, and being down there, you can just on the bottom you can gain a lot of speed down the straightaways, but just having a good race car, a good balanced race car there is very key.
Boy, Brady Bacon and C.J. Leary they both took quite a wild ride down there in turn number 3. Man, that's I guess just trying to fight for the same spot. How hard is it to see out of these race cars?
Well, by the looks of that, fairly hard. But
right.
I mean, it was. I think there's just a closing rate, that maybe Brady didn't anticipate, and CJ, had been running the bottom down there, and it was, only 2 laps in, so I felt like that was a little uncharacteristic from Brady.
Right.
But I think that, it was intentional by any means, not that it ever is, but, I think just 2 guys going for the same spot, and, as you are Brady, you got to watch yourself too. You can't get up on the berm because you'll bike and you'll end up harming yourself. So I think they just ran out of room, which is hard to do on that big of a track. But I think that's just a little bit of contact and slowing these things down. They obviously look way slower than a wing car there, but you're still going pretty fast.
It looked like it was a racing deal to me.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, yeah. I don't really put that blame on anybody. I think it's just open wheel race cars. If you touch wheels, usually it doesn't end up great. So now, if it would have been right rear to Nerf bar, then that's a different story. But I think it's just slowing down and getting to your mark there in 3 and 4. You got to really be precise with it, and I think Brady was in the grip and CJ was a little bit in the slick, and the closing rate was just more than they anticipated. So, I don't really fault anybody for that. Unfortunate, CJ's one of my good buddies. It rung his bell pretty good. So, you don't like seeing that out of your friends.
How much were you aware of Ryan Bernal and Kyle Cummins back of you? Cummins has been running really well all season long, come from 18th to 3rd. How much were you aware of those guys behind you?
I was fairly aware. Every once in a while, I didn't want to all the time, but I would look up at the board sporadically there in 3 and 4, and just see if I saw. Obviously we have a red car. There's not a lot of red cars out there, so if they were on me for longer than a couple laps, that means somebody was probably on my ass. And they never really were, and I could see kind of where everybody was. So, but other than that, I had a good feeling race car, and I felt like I was making good speed, and I never hurt anybody. So I didn't really pay a whole lot of attention to it, just every once in a while. But I felt like I got through lap traffic well. So I didn't really, I wasn't really spooked. Obviously, I know it's a bottom-dominant track, so you're not going to make that much more speed than everybody else. But I did feel good on the laps that I was making.
Kevin Thomas Jr. after his win at Knoxville on Saturday night, and hopefully we'll see him in a midget tonight at Hobstadt, tomorrow night at Kokomo. We'll hear more of Kevin Thomas Jr. in Hour 2 exclusively on Racing Boys. That's coming up on racingboys.com, our Facebook page and YouTube channel. And just want to remind you to tune in live Mondays at noon for Mostly Motorsports. I think we got Ryan Timms lined up for Monday, and we'll have another guest lined up. Who knows who that's going to be, so make sure you tune in for that. And we podcast that show and replay some of the highlighted interviews on Saturday morning's Track Talk show, so want to remind you about that. Hey, one other thing before we go, I just want to mention that I went into the Hall of Fame on Sunday to see the Manzanita Speedway display.
8 cars.
Yeah, you need to go in there and check that out, folks. If you're up at Knoxville tonight, check out some of the old cars. One of the collections is the car that Jesse Hockett drove to the last sanctioned win at Manzanita Speedway. That car is on display up there, and they got some rare footage from Manzanita Speedway and some of the big races that were held there. They called it Keith Hall's Manzanita Speedway in Phoenix, Arizona. It closed after the 2009 season, and that was the site of one of the big crown jewel in sprint car racing. The Western World Championship was started there at Manzanita Speedway, and they got some old clips of a lot of the racers from back in the day, Ron Schumann, Leland McSpadden, just a lot of great drivers there, and they got some of the great cars on display. So if you are in Knoxville tonight or coming up before October the 1st, make sure you check out the Salute to Manzanita Speedway. I want to remind everybody that the Corvette is going to be given away again this year. Last day of the Nationals is when you can sign up. They'll draw for it a week after. It's a beautiful 2025 Corvette ZR1 with the ZTK Performance Package, 1,064 horsepower this car. You can win this, plus the $30,000 cash to the grand prize winner. All you have to do is go to winacorvette.org to get registered to win the Corvette. And all the proceeds go to the betterment of the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum. They had a great Hall of Fame ceremony last week. They got the video up on their Facebook page if you want to see the ceremony and all the inductees that went in last weekend. It was a great ceremony. And 7 days a week, the Hall of Fame is open. Check it out. National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum.
2 minutes, gentlemen, 2 minutes.
Well, Kirk, to be honest with you, that Corvette, I'd like to have it.
Oh, I know. Yeah, we all would, wouldn't we?
Right.
You can't wait to get your hands on that thing and take it for a spin. 1,064 horsepower. But you're used to driving, powerful race cars.
Yep.
So you would have no problem with that at all, would you?
Nope, not at all. My ARCA car had 750 horsepower.
This has got more horsepower than your ARCA race car had.
That's crazy,
it does.
That's why.
Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
That is nuts.
What's even crazier, thinking there's just normal people out there driving those cars on the street, right?
Right.
I mean, you see those crashes on those YouTube videos all the time. You might have the money to buy those cars, but some of those people don't have the experience to drive those kind of cars. You see a lot of crashes in those.
Kirk Elliott, he wouldn't drive that car, would you?
I'd trust him.
I'd try to drive it. I wouldn't drive it as good as you, though.
All right, thanks everybody for tuning in to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. We want to thank our guests, Jonathan Davenport, Kevin Thomas Jr. Kevin Thomas Jr. Part 2 is coming up. Right, Todd?
That's right. Part 2 coming up.
And who else? What else are we going to talk about? I don't know.
NASCAR
Stay tuned
picks
to find out.
and everything else.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply. We can't thank you enough for showing up, and
we'll talk to you again next Saturday. Thanks for joining us.
Alright.
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Warm weather is just around the corner, which means insects and other pests are soon to follow. Plan now to keep bugs out of your home.
I'll see you guys next week.
We rock and roll. We'll be on it.
All righty.
10-4.
Augustine.
Yeah, I already did, Scott. You got to just refresh that screen.
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Dirt Specialty Sportswear in-house. We do all of the screen printing, all the embroidery. We do some vinyl. The other add specialty items like your pens, magnets, notepads, calendars. You can actually buy that, build your business to make it larger. We have the largest screen printing process and the largest embroidery anywhere around in the area. We can do stuff all the way from your school clubs to sports teams, a professional look in the office. If you can imagine it, we can do it for you.
From the circle track to the drag strip to off-road racing, Rod End Supply has been keeping their customers at the front of the field since 1989. Whether you need rod ends, tubular rods, or specialty products, Bob Douglas and his Rod End Supply staff are always ready to help you with your needs. You can visit them on the web at rodendsupply.com or call them at 800-284-2902. That's 800-284-2902. Rod End Supply, keeping you at the front of the field.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Sabres 33 RLP. Let's go take a tour. Coming into this animal, we're going to take a trip back here to the feature of this trailer, the deck. Check it out. It's awesome. It's 4 by 10 feet. You can dance on the thing. Boom! Check it out. It's pretty nice. And then coming to the back of this thing, you got a 75-inch TV. It's huge. 60-inch fireplace. Nice and big, keep you warm. Then you got an ottoman that converts into a table, if you will, maybe some TV trays. Then this hide-a-bed that I'm pointing at, it comes out and folds into like a king-size bed with storage in the corner for all your linens. Great little addition to the trailer. Your dinette, of course. Then you're gonna come around to the kitchen with the tic-toc sink. It's got the spritzer and the waterfall and all that stuff. Residential style refrigerator. It's got the microwave and the oven that's residential as well. Big old pantry over here with motion detected lights, coffee bar, and then coming up to the bedroom, you'll have the bathroom first, nice and spacious with a seat in it for them ladies. And then we got the king size bedroom with washer dryer hookup. I'm telling you, this is a home run for a couples coach. Come and see me, Kyle Walker.
Steve died, the outpouring of love was amazing. These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized, no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive, so having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
So we have a lot of folks come in interested in traveling for work. This is going to be a great option. Your Coachman Northern Spirit 2565 front kitchen. You have a nice wraparound full front kitchen here. Huge windows up top. Big 12-volt refrigerator. Lots of windows on the sides here. Great natural light coming in. You have your big TV over here on the swing arm bracket so you can kind of see it from any point in the room. Also have your bar stools here, sit and eat your breakfast. In the bedroom, you're going to have a king-size bed in the slide-out. Lots of storage underneath that. Washer, dryer, hookup, tons of storage with the drawers. Then you got your full bath across the back. When it comes down to a camper that you can get for 6,500 pounds and be under 30 feet long, this is an absolute home run.
Race fans, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum is open 7 days a week, year-round, for you to come in and check out all of the wonderful race cars on display in the museum. And our online store at sprintcarstuff.com is open 24 hours a day for you to check out everything that we have in stock for sprint car fans. Whether it's for a birthday, anniversary, or Christmas, sprintcarstuff.com has it all. That's at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum in Knoxville.
Go harder, faster, stronger with Rod End Supply. Whether you are running industrial, farming equipment, or a race car, Rod End Supply has the assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products that will help you lead the field in performance. Our superior design means our rod ends last longer and perform better, giving you the edge on the track and saving you money. Contact Rod End Supply or order online today at rodendsupply.com. We don't just sell them, we race them. rodendsupply.com. Serving the racing community for over 30 years.
Hey everybody, this is Larry the Cable Guy. You are listening to RacingBoys.com, and if you're not, I swear to you, get in your truck or do something, but get the hell out of this country because you don't belong in it if you don't listen to these fellas.
It's time for America's most unique motorsports show, Track Talk, brought to you by Rod End Supply and the Power Ride Midwest Lightning Sprints. Here are the racing boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Welcome back to Track Talk here on Sports Radio RBN, the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. Ryan Ragland says, man, Eldora was freaking amazing last night.
Yeah, there was some crazy racing going on last night at Eldora Speedway, especially that second race last. I don't know how many lead changes we had in that second A main last night, but it was more than we would normally see. You had a 100-lap race, let alone 50-lap races. But you think maybe the amount of money that was on the line may have something to it?
Right.
$30,000 to win a prelim event. But Josh Rice celebrates that win last night like it was the World 100 or the late model Dream. And it was a $30,000 win pay. I guess winning any race at Eldora Speedway is a big deal.
Did you think Tyler Erb was going to win that race?
I did. I mean, once he got out in front, but, he got up into the loose stuff up there, and away he went. He smacked the wall, but he still came back and finished third.
Harrington was slipped up a little bit as well, didn't he?
Will Harrington. Yeah, he was one of the guys got upside down there later in the race. He got into trouble. Got up into the loose stuff sideways. Carson Ferguson also got upside down last night. So it was a pretty wild second race last night at Eldora Speedway. The track was not like they had planned on it because they got so much rain during the week that that pretty much dictated the track conditions for the rest of the weekend. What are we going to see tonight? I don't really know. I don't think it's going to be as curbed up as we've seen the last two nights. I wouldn't think so, but I don't know what the rain forecast is for the rest of the day at Eldora. Hopefully they can get everything in as scheduled tonight. But here's the unique part about Eldora Speedway. They run these heat races to determine the lineup for the feature event. And those heat races, you and I have both been to Eldora for the World 100 and seen how those heat races go down. Those are pretty wild. Those guys are racing for every position they can get for as good a starting spot as they can get. And so you want to make sure you tune in if you're watching the Dream tonight on Flow Racing, that you watch those heat races right at the beginning of the night, because that's going to dictate a lot of how things go the rest of the evening.
Kirk, I'm just sick to my stomach looking at I-70 Speedway and the grass that's grown.
Well, you just won't let this go, will you?
I'm not going to let it go.
I don't know who posted those pictures up there, but
Becky Howard Coffey.
Well, I drove out by there a couple of months ago. No, it was about a month ago. And I didn't see the grass grow. But, I can imagine that, with all the rain that we've gotten here in the last couple of weeks or month, that the grass would be growing up. I mean, that would stand to reason since everything's tied up in court and nobody's really working at I-70 Speedway right now. I mean, there's plenty going on at the drag strip next door. There's nothing wrong with what's happening at the drag strip. Everything is being kept up and maintained there, but that's on a separate piece of property than the I-70 dirt track. So with everything tied up in court, Casey Schumann has moved on to Lucas Oil Speedway. They don't really have anybody working at I-70 now. You got the two owners in a fight against each other. Who's going to be working there to mow the grass?
Right.
No one. But it's let's just hope and pray that everything gets worked out in court and Steve Bailey becomes the owner of I-70 dirt track. If that happens, then there is a future for dirt track racing at I-70
Do you think
Speedway.
if Steve Bailey owns the drag strip and the dirt track,
that would be Scott Higgs that would make that happen. Scott Higgs is the owner of the Flying H drag strip. If he were to purchase the entire property, then you'd have to say the future of racing on the dirt track is probably non-existent. However, if Steve Bailey is able to purchase out Chris Payne's portion of the property that the dirt track sits on, then there is a future for dirt track racing out there. Let's hope that happens. But we really don't know what's going to happen right now. Everything is tied up in court. We don't know how that's all going to get settled. We hope it gets settled for the betterment of the future of the dirt track out there. That's what we're hoping for. But it could go the other way, too, where Scott Higgs might end up owning the entire property.
Scott, Kirk, tonight, $3,500 to win down there at the B-Mods.
Central Missouri Speedway. That's pretty good payday for the winner of the B-Mod class at Central Missouri Speedway.
I'm thinking about going down there.
Get it in. Have you seen it? I haven't looked up the Central Missouri Speedway Facebook. I assume everything is still on for tonight. But it was raining out there a little bit earlier, so let's hope that Mother Nature can cooperate and they can get that show in tonight. I want to talk about something that happened last Saturday night at Butler, Michigan. Brad Sweet was DQ'd for not going to the scales after the feature event. The top three must go to the scales. And Brad Sweet finished third when the checkered flag flew, but he had a right rear tire go down. So he pulls off the exit off the racetrack into the pit area is turn 1. So he pulls off the racetrack.
And he didn't go to the scales.
When he didn't go to the scales. And I can understand why Brad did that. He's got a flat tire. He doesn't think he thinks he saw the white flag come out. He's thinking the race is not over yet.
Right.
That's what he's thinking. But the race should have been over because they lost track of the lap count for some reason. They ran an extra lap in the feature event at Butler last week. Now, how does that happen? Now, to me, the only person to blame for that is the race director, Mike Hess. He is in charge in the tower and in communications and all of that. And to be wrong on the lap count is inexcusable in my mind. Now, a lot of places you have the race scores on the radio giving updates of what the lap count is. That's coming from the score. Now, I understand that Mike Hess was not in the tower next to the scores because he said he couldn't see outside the window, so had to be outside, and it's not close to where the scores are at Butler. Now, I'm not sure if they didn't have the proper booth to work out of. They couldn't see out, couldn't see the racetrack, so he was outside the booth away from the scores. And for some reason, the scores weren't on the radio keeping the flagman up to date. Now, I see people blaming the flagman and blaming everybody else, but the flagman should not be blamed for anything. These days, the flagman really doesn't have any control of much other than waving the flags up there. The race director is in charge of when the yellows come out and all of that. And it's not, and you can't ask the flagman to be keeping track of the laps up there when he doesn't really have to. When you have the radio communications with the scores and all of that, to me, the one person to blame for all of it is Mike Hess. And to DQ Brad Sweet, and Brad didn't complain about it much. I don't think he could complain about it much. He is the co-owner of the series.
He had a right rear flat, didn't he?
Yeah. But is that a
little... You know, he thought he might not have weighed him.
Well, the explanation they gave is if they can keep eyes on the car, and even though he goes through the pit area, if they can keep eyes on the car, he can still come back to the scales. But the problem is with Mike Hess outside the booth, he didn't see, or no one else kept eyes on the 49 car as it went through the pit area, and so therefore he is automatically DQ'd. Now, to me, that is a pretty harsh penalty for a guy that just had his tire go down, thinking it was the white flag lap when they just waved the white. He didn't think the race was over, and he is the points leader and DQ'd for something like that, but he couldn't really complain about it because he's the co-owner of the series. If Brad Sweet were to go up and bitch about it, hey, I think he took one for the series there. Don't you think? I think Brad Sweet thought that, okay, now, anybody who complains that I am in influencing the calls of the race director, that has all been put to bed right now because I've been just DQ'd. So if Brad was thinking about complaining about it, which I think he had every right to complain about it if he's just a race competitor and nothing else, to be charged for something like that, based on a snafu by the race officials, that is a pretty harsh penalty. But he didn't complain about it. He took it for the series, and now he sits in a battle with Tyler Courtney for the championship right now. Matter of fact, he lost the points lead after that. And now Brad Sweet is, reeling from getting into a race car on Thursday night. At the Race Rudine Foundation race, car spun out and he slammed into it. And Tyler Courtney had his own issues, so they're still in it. But he's in a points battle now because of a DQ that I think was a little bit harsh of a penalty for any competitor.
Rico Abreu is 2 points back from Brad Sweet right now.
Well, Tyler Courtney is, let's see, where's he at right now? I haven't got the points pulled up right now, but if you look at where Tyler Courtney is in the mix, and he had a chance to really capitalize on that until he got turned around in the Race Rudine Foundation race.
David Gravel is 150 points up over Buddy Kofoid right now.
Yeah. So here's the way it stands. Brad Sweet has got a 2-point lead over Rico Abreu. Brent Marks is 5 points back in third. Tyler Courtney is in fourth, 8 points back.
That is a tight point race, Kirk.
Well, and you can't forget about Aaron Reitzel. Aaron Reitzel is 16 points back,
right,
of the championship. So you got a 5-driver battle for the high limit championship right now. Reitzel he's won 3 races so far now on the high limit series. So he's definitely in the mix as well. So a mistake by the race director at Butler has turned this points championship into a 5-way battle now between Brad Sweet, Rico Abreu, Brent Marks, Tyler Courtney, and Aaron Reitzel. So that's where we stand right now. Don't you think that would Brad Sweet really couldn't have complained about that a whole lot since he co-owns the series, right?
Right.
Do you think that dispels any notion that Brad Sweet has any influence on the race officials now? Do you think that puts that to bed?
Do you think that Brad Sweet, he's only 2 points ahead of Rico Abreu, 5 points ahead of
Brent Marks.
8 points ahead of Tyler Courtney, and 16 points ahead of Aaron Reitzel.
We got a big battle on our hands. The next race is the midweek show up at Eagle Raceway next Tuesday night.
When is that?
Next Tuesday.
Tuesday.
You going?
I'm thinking about it.
Just right up the road.
It's about 2.5 hours from here.
Yeah. Now, on the World of Outlaws side, David Gravel had a did not finish last night. His first did not finish of the season in the World of Outlaws. And he also had some issues on the rear end last night at Plymouth Dirt Track. And so I don't know what this means now for I don't think it means much. I think David Gravel still is in firm command of the World of Outlaws, trying to win his second straight World of Outlaws championship. But this certainly makes things more interesting than 24 hours ago, that's for sure. David Gravel now leads Buddy Kofoid, who had a great finish last night. He finished in second place. You have Gravel with 4,098 points. Buddy Kofoid, 3,948. So he's still got a
150 points back.
Gravel still leads by triple digits over in the points battle now. Buddy Kofoid second, Carson Macedo third, Logan Schuart and Sheldon Hodenshield. David Gravel still is in firm command of the World of Outlaw points despite what happened.
You know, I'm always pulling for Donnie Schatz.
Yeah, he's been struggling. Even, they switched back to the Chevy motors, from Ford. They put the Ford engine on the shelf, but things haven't really gotten much better. Matter of fact, maybe even gotten worse for Donnie. He's not really had the performance and the speed out of that race car that I'm sure he expected to have. But don't you think that Justin Peck with the Rudine number 26 car has shown that Ford still has pretty good power? They didn't put their Ford program on the shelf. They had an engine expire on him, though. Justin Peck, he was starting up front.
Right.
Here this past week. That was at Red Cedar Raceway up in Wisconsin earlier this week, and he had a great start and sped up front, and early in the race, his engine let go. So it's not as though they haven't had their issues, but they've had power out of those Ford engines. And Justin Peck has had some great finishes with that Ford power, Ron Shaver Ford power. But there's been some
motor problems.
There's a reliability issue right there that you got to be concerned about for the Rudine number 26 and Justin Peck with that engine that let go the other night, but they've had plenty of power.
Hey, part of the reason that Donnie Schatz isn't running the Ford motor is because they didn't have parts.
Well, that's the explanation that they gave. Tony Stewart in an interview talked about that, says they thought they were going to have issues with the supply chain getting parts and pieces, but it doesn't seem as though they're having parts issues with the 26 of Justin Peck. They seem like they're getting parts for that, but I think they were obviously more concerned about it over at Donnie Schatz, Tony Stewart Racing number 15 car, that they put the whole program on the shelf and went back to Chevrolet engines. But I don't see the performance right now out of Donnie that's any better. Matter of fact, might be worse than when they had the Ford engine in that car.
I would agree with that, Kirk.
So we'll see what happens from here, but certainly Donnie is not happy with the way things are going right now. It's been a tough season for him, for sure. Tonight they're going to be at Beaver Dam Speedway, and they're also tomorrow night at Angel Park Speedway up in Wisconsin before they head to Knoxville next weekend. They're back at Knoxville Friday and Saturday, and then the week after that, the High Bank Nationals at Houston Speedway up in South Dakota. And let's keep our fingers crossed we don't have to worry about floods in South Dakota this year. You remember last year the whole week got flooded out, and they had to rerun the event over Labor Day weekend. Let's hope that doesn't happen again this year. I don't think so.
Alan Miller just reminded me that Central Missouri Speedway is Facebook $3,500 to win for a B-Mod special tonight.
That's big money for B-Mods.
That's big money.
So I'm expecting a pretty good car count at Central Missouri Speedway tonight.
I'm thinking about going down there.
Yeah. I think so. Some of the guys you saw at Lakeside Speedway will probably be there. John Sheets, who won at Lakeside last night. We see Aaron Morant driving it back in his modified. We saw him in a late model at Lucas Oil Speedway a couple of weeks back. So I think they're going to have some pretty good names down at Central Missouri Speedway tonight.
You know Tim Carrick could be down there.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I was down there when they had the Malvern Bank late models down there, and he won that night that I was down there. So he's got a different race car. He races at CMS than the one he races at Lakeside. Different racetrack. So I think he's got two different race cars.
He's got two different race cars?
Yeah. So it should be a pretty good show down there. Let's hope Mother Nature can cooperate there. I haven't looked at the radar and the forecast, but Todd, you think all this is going to be moving out of here, huh?
This afternoon it looks like we're going to have a little bit of a rain, and then it looks like the rest of the evening is going to be fine. So
too wet at Lucas Oil Speedway, though. They
Yeah.
called off the flat track motorcycle. I was looking forward to that. They were going to carry that on Flow.
Were you going to go down there?
Well, either that or I was thinking about watching it on Flow while watching the Dream, but not going to happen tonight. So they rescheduled that for July 18th for the flat track motorcycles at Lucas Oil Speedway. So we want to hear part two of Kevin Thomas Jr.?
Sure can. Let me get this stuff ready.
KTJ won at Knoxville last Saturday night. I think it surprised a lot of people that he was able to win. He didn't look like the strongest race car earlier in the night, but he found the groove on the bottom of the racetrack and committed to it, and that was the ticket to success. Now, the wing sprint cars couldn't get away with that. Ryan Timms won ripping the lip later in the night, but KTJ was able to keep his non-wing sprint car down at the bottom of the racetrack, and that paid big dividends. Let's hear part two of Kevin Thomas Jr. from our conversation with him earlier this week on Mostly Motorsports. You've driven these race cars a lot of years now. Just how much has these non-wing cars changed as far as drivability over the last, say, even 5 years?
Oh, 5 year, heck. You know, we make them more drivable, and then we add more power to them. Then we make them more drivable, then we add more power. So the speeds can constantly, you know, keep ramping up. And, you know, we see that. I feel like every week we're setting a new track record somewhere. Heck, we just broke my old track record CJ did at Knoxville that I thought nobody was ever going to get to. So,
right.
You know, they're getting faster and faster and faster. So, you know, naturally they're going to be a little bit more uncontrollable, but, you know, with the shock technology and even the safety side of things, whether it be seat inserts or seats or the way we even mount our seats with chasm systems or this new puck system, there's just things that make us feel like we should go faster, so we do. There's not as much scare factor in it as it was whenever we were running, you know, a high back seat with just a headrest. Now you feel a little bit like Superman. So, you know, there's a bunch of things that kind of go into that.
The safety technology nowadays is much better than it was back in the day, wasn't it?
Yeah. I feel a lot better after a wreck now than what I used to. Yeah.
Well, it's one of the reasons back in the day they put wings on the cars. It used to be all non-wing at Knoxville, and safety was a big factor of why they made it all wing race cars. So, yeah, it's come a long way right now. But you drove both the wing and non-wing this weekend, driving for Heidbreder, the 19 car. Just how much of a difference is that? How difficult is that to go from wing to non-wing all in the same night? You got to change your whole thinking, do you not?
Yeah, you really do. And, luckily they both park next to each other, so I didn't have to do a lot of running around. But, I do crew chief my own non-wing car, so I'm busy over there. And then, I do as much as I can on the wing car. I'm not a wing crew chief and don't claim to be, but I know enough to get me in trouble. So right. Doing a little bit there. So I was running around a little bit, but, just getting laps at that place was great, but bouncing back and forth from non-wing to wing, they are two completely different driving styles. You attack the track a lot different, and it's just two completely different feels. Both take the wing off; they're both the same cars, but man, they just aren't. So it's different, and obviously I'm new to the wing side. I've done it a couple years, but I done it a lot, and I'll race 2 or 3 times, and then I'm done. So the opportunity to run with the Heidbreders and get some more. I think we're running like 30 races, and a lot of them are at Knoxville, which is great because that's the toughest place in the country to run. So it's just different. There's specific things I guess I could go into detail about, and then just transforming from non-wing guy, slow and steady around the bottom, to wing guy, where, you're going to deal with air, you got to deal with all kinds of different things that go through your brain while you're trying to, get around the same racetrack you were just on. It's a bit complicated at times.
Talk about crew chief in your own non-wing car. How about that?
Yeah, I've done that for a long time. Unfortunately, that's not new to me. There's times I know too much about these things, and I get myself in trouble.
Right.
But I've done that for a long time. I grew up like that. Had to work on my own race cars and figure it out from ground zero. So I've put a lot of effort into that, and whenever I do go to new teams and there are maybe a crew chief, I'm probably a pain in their ass because I can kind of speak their language, and then we just try to mesh and do things as well as possible. But on the non-wing side, I am the crew chief on that, and and I have help from my car owner. He's a smart guy. He didn't drive race cars, but he's an intelligent guy on the non-wing side. So I got somebody that I can bounce some stuff off of that's going to tell me if I'm stupid or not. So that's always comforting.
Todd Surprise, our producer, he's showing your merch page. Talk about your merchandise.
Well, my merchandise ran by my wife. She's a soldier whenever it comes to that. So I don't know a lot about that stuff, but she's a guru. She comes up with all the designs, and she has great people she works with. She runs a whole business herself. It's called 410 Merchandising. She takes care of other drivers, C.J. Leary, Jake Swanson, Brenham Crouch, a couple other people too. But she handles like all the inventory and, online sales and the things that us race car drivers don't want to screw with. She does all that. So, she's so good at it. And, her brain and her organizational skills are out of this world.
Maybe the racing boys need to get a hold of her and have her figure out how we can sell some of our merchandise.
Yeah.
This is a very important aspect of merchandise. This is a big deal. You got to have it.
Yes, you really do. And and as me, I'm not even a social media guy. I could care less. But and she runs all that for me as well. So just her knowledge of the way and the algorithms and all the stuff, it blows my mind to see somebody be able to kind of control things from just their cell phone, and it's nuts. So yeah, the merchandise is big, social media is big, and she's my savior on that, because if it wasn't for that, you wouldn't even know I existed.
Right.
All right, you're going to be a busy guy the rest of this week. You're going to be in a midget. Indiana Midget Week begins tomorrow night at Circle City Raceway. You're going to be at Paragon, Honest Abe Roofing, Lincoln Park Speedway, Bloomington on Friday night, Saturday night, Tri-State, Sunday night, Kokomo. You're at it every night this week. Tell us about your midget.
I have a great midget team, Four Kings Racing. Rex Turner is the head of that. My crew chief's Matt Westfall, and we got good crew members with a kid named JB, who's actually going to run a midget this week, but he is one of our better crew members. Those guys are great. They have given me a fast car from the start. We've had a couple mechanical issues, not necessarily failures on anybody's part, but we've had some things that hindered a few results. But other than that, we're always a solid top 5 car. We qualify well. So I'm very pleased with that. And everybody knows my take on midget racing. I'm not always a fan of it, but when you got a fast race car, it's easier, to enjoy going to the racetrack.
What is your most prized win of your career? What is the biggest win that you cherish the most?
In all forms of motorsports?
Yes.
Yep.
That's tough. It's not necessarily a win. I guess my biggest win would probably be my first Oval Nationals in 2017. It was a family-owned car. It was just me and a kid named Brad Alexander.
Wow.
Which is he's like one of the best shock builders in the country now, and he was wing crew chief for like Buddy Kofoid and Corey Eliason whenever they were running the Crouch cars. But he's been a long friend of mine, and that one was pretty special, especially because he's from out there, and I had some ties to that just because Bubby Jones and Davy Jones. So Paris is always special to me. That one was big, But the other one would probably, it's not a race win, but it would be my first sprint week, which came in that same exact year, 2017, with the same guys, and then another guy named Robert Brown Jr. Everybody knows him as Slide Job Bob, probably on social media.
Right.
But just being basically a bunch of kids out there, just going out there and winning such a historic race was pretty cool.
That's Kevin Thomas Jr.
Yeah, he was a great guest on Mondays, Mostly Motorsports Show. You can hear the entire interview on our podcast section on racingboys.com, and all the interviews that we do. We've had some great guests here lately, have we not?
Todd, we've had some great guests, haven't we?
We had, like you said, Kevin Thomas Jr., John Davenport, but Justin Grant and Hudson O'Neill. This is just last couple of weeks. Brian Brown and Kaylee Bryson.
We got Ryan Timms booked for Monday.
Absolutely. You can go all the way back. We had a really good episode with go all the way back to Bill Baylog and Jim Chisholm back.
And maybe if Josh Rice wins tonight, maybe we can see if we can get his number, get him on. I'll bet he'd come on, don't you think?
I'm sure he would.
Also, we need to, and I'm going to try to work on this, Travis Aarons. Try to get his number, too. I haven't yet. Haven't got his number
Latest
yet.
winner.
But I'll bet he would come on.
Absolutely. Anytime you win your first race like that over those kind of guys.
How wild is that? He goes jump in the pond. He jumps in the pond right behind Victory Lane. That is a unique racetrack up there, 141 Speedway up in Wisconsin. I think it's at a place called Maribel, Wisconsin. I'm not exactly sure where that is, somewhere between Milwaukee and Green Bay. Where they were at Wednesday night was way north of Green Bay at Menominee, Wisconsin. Red Cedar Raceway, where Rico won.
Got a cool guitar. He won a cool-looking guitar also in that.
Yeah, they give away the guitar for the Race Redeem Foundation, Victory. You remember last year Rico got the guitar at I-70.
That's right.
And Thursday night it was Travis Aarons holding up that cool-looking guitar. I guess Race Redeem, he is the the son of Kevin Rudeen, the owner of the number 26 car in the Skagit Speedway.
There you go.
And so forth. His son passed away, and they raised money on his memory. And he was, and I heard an interview last night with Kevin Rudeen that Tony Laporta had on Flow, that Race Rudeen was not really a big race fan, but Kevin wanted to mix what Race loved and what he loved together, and
guitars was
Race
it.
Rudeen was big into music.
Yeah.
Like, he was kind of like you, Todd.
Todd.
He loved the guitar. It'd be like if we did a memory race of Todd's Surprise, we'd probably give away a guitar,
There
right?
you go.
That'd be the way to
Pretty
do
cool
it.
guitar.
Well, the same thing happened here. That this
Hey,
is
Todd.
what Race loved.
Yeah.
I saw that you were playing your guitar on
Yeah, I've been playing
Facebook.
Playing a little bit lately, just trying to keep the chops up. Those are my morning exercises, as we'll call them. That's kind of what I do. But yeah,
You're a pretty good guitar player.
Oh, I'm a picker. That's about it. I'm not. I do enough to keep.
How many guitars do you own?
Oh, a lot.
A lot.
How
You
many?
lost count. You don't know how many.
How many do you got,
Oh,
Todd?
More than 10 and less than 100. Let's just go with that. More than 10.
And somewhere in between.
Somewhere
That's how
between
many,
10 and 100 at any time. My wife will tell you there's too many. We were just doing spring cleaning this week.
Hey.
And there was a guitar in every corner in every room, so that's kind of how it works around the house. There's either a guitar part or something that's either falling off of a guitar or being put back on a guitar.
Hey,
so.
Todd, Kirk, Rico Abreu got into it with Buddy Kofoid last night, didn't he?
Rico's car was completely sideways, and somehow Rico was able to hang on to it and stay in the lead and win that race lap. How did he do that?
I don't know how he did it.
I mean, Buddy, his attempt at a slider didn't quite work out for Buddy, but somehow both these guys kept it going. They finished 1 and 2. But I thought that was a calamity right there when Buddy and Rico made contact last night. I thought both of them were going to be taken out.
Right.
But for some unbelievable reason, Rico was able to keep control of it and keep it headed in the right direction and pick up the victory last night.
Every story that we talk about is on racingboys.com.
That's right. It is.
That's exactly right. I've been trying to show everybody that, so it's an easy click. You can just go straight to news, and that'll bring them all up, or you can actually individual your stories there. So sprint car fans, dirt late model, modified, dirt racing, Indy, NASCAR, and pavement late model modified. So a lot of racing going on this weekend. I know that NASCAR, we're going to make our picks here pretty quick. I know NASCAR's racing today at Michigan. Is that right, Kirk?
Michigan. That's right.
ARCA race last
before we
night,
get
didn't
into that, I just want to mention that the ASCS National Tour is back in action tonight at Texarkana 67 Speedway tonight.
Jordan Mallett is returning to ASCS.
He is going to race full-time on the ASCS
Right.
Tour. Sam Haverteep Jr. won the most recent race in the ASCS National Tour last weekend. And so he's going for his 6th championship.
Rain wins at Bloomington.
Last night, the USAC Midgets were supposed to be at Bloomington Speedway last night, but called off. Tonight at Hobstadt, tomorrow night at Kokomo. And you brought up the NASCAR, Todd. Michigan Speedway is where it's at this weekend for the Cup Series.
What's your pick, Kurt?
I still haven't decided. We're gonna make it here before the end of the show.
We'll make them here. Let me pull up the odds for everybody. I've already made my picks. My pick is I'm going to stick with Denny Hamlin. I had him last week. I'm going to stick with Denny this week. He's got some pretty good odds with him. And Tyler Reddick is my.
What's the odds?
Let me get my NASCAR odds brought up here.
Qualifying is going on right now. I
That's what I
guess.
was getting ready to say.
Should I turn it on?
We
It's
only got.
on. Is it on Amazon Prime?
Yeah, you
got to
have the you got to have the
I don't know.
Prime. So here we
We're
go.
not really equipped to bring up Amazon Prime on our TVs right
Absolutely not.
I've got it up on my TV in my bedroom.
There you go.
now. You can watch the races on Amazon Prime,
Right.
which I think they're doing a great job.
Real good job.
coverage.
I agree.
They're way better than Fox, don't you think?
Well, I think
I think Carl Edwards and Steve Letarte are doing a great job.
Yeah, Carl's working on the set. Yeah, he's doing outstanding. He and Corey LaJoy and up
Corey's,
in the booth, you got Dale Jr. and Steve Letarte with Adam Alexander.
All right, here we go. So NASCAR Cup Series. Here we go. There's your odds for today.
Kyle Larson.
Yeah, actually, this is just going to be your. This is actually for the series. Let me pull up the actual. That's.
Well, if I'm going to make a bet and a pick, I'm not going to pick the one with the best odds.
No.
You wouldn't make
Well,
that much money.
No, but the best odds are the guys who they think's going to win, and I'm
Of
pretty.
course, we pick who we think's actually going to win, right?
Absolutely.
We're not thinking in terms of making money.
No,
are we?
no. I mean, if I was going to be out here picking for that, but I honestly think that Larson had. I think Larson's odds today were the ones where he had the best odds, I believe, going into today.
Kyle Larson, it's hard to pick against him.
Yeah, and I think he had a pretty good race.
Well, he's had a history of running well at Michigan.
Yeah.
He dominated at Kansas Speedway, 221 laps at 267 laps.
Yeah, here we go. Now we got it. All right, we pulled this up on the screen for us all, guys. So
Kyle hasn't had very much good luck here in the last 3 or 4 weeks.
So Kyle opened at plus 475, which that tells you, he's the favorite. So Larson, Hamlin, Blaney, Byron, Reddick, Bell will be your thing. I went ahead and picked Denny Hamlin and Tyler Reddick. So I've got my two picks are in the top 5 or 6 picks there. So who you think you're going to pick there? I know Scott had said that he was thinking about taking Bell as the winner, but we hadn't confirmed it yet. So who you got, Scott?
I'm going to go off on the limb and pick Tyler Reddick. I
Yep,
think he's
there you
due
go.
for a win.
That's how I had him as my backup because I thought for sure. All right.
And my backup pick,
Uh-huh.
I'm going to go with Noah Gragson
How about
as
that?
a surprise winner.
There's a
Driving
new
the
name for me
Legacy
to.
Motor Club.
Yeah, there's a new
Noah
name for me to.
Gragson?
Yep.
Noah Gragson. How about that one?
I think Kosten Harsevar will have a pretty good day today, actually, as well.
Hosevar always
The
seems to run up front in these
the
races.
Spire car.
Yeah, and he's got a.
What do you think about Hosevar? He always seems to be running up front.
He
here.
does, and he kind of pushed a couple guys out early last week. Did he push
He's
out?
not making a whole lot of new
He's
friends.
not
over
making
there.
a lot of friends.
Yeah.
So, like you said, and so I like watching him. So, yeah, that's my pick. How about you, Scott Traylor? Who you think? You still sticking with Christopher Bell as your winner?
I'm going to take Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell.
There you go. Larson
Well,
Bell.
those are easy
Carson
picks.
Hocevar is probably a pretty good pick as well.
That's low-hanging fruit, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah,
Larson and Bell?
But it just doesn't. They ain't been winning every week, so it is what it is. Well, at least we got our picks. Like I said, we didn't pick.
We think about William Byron, who he did everything but win the Coca-Cola 600.
Absolutely.
He's not won a race since the Daytona 500.
Yeah,
but he's had a couple of pretty good runs up there. And what's going on with Chase Elliott?
That's what I was just getting ready to say. Chase Elliott.
He hadn't been doing very good this year.
Just something's off. Something is off, and I don't know what it is. I'm like you, Kirk. When
He hasn't won a race since Texas of last year.
Yeah,
That was the only win he had last year.
Right.
I mean, here's a guy that won, he won 4 or 5 races a couple of years ago. But ever since he had that snowboarding accident, he's not been the same.
Yeah,
Right.
It's kind of strange, I know how. I mean, we can say the same thing with Kyle Busch. I mean, he hasn't picked up a win. Hasn't had.
I think that's more team related than anything else.
But did you honestly think that?
You think the RCR team?
Here's what I think about Kyle Busch. I think he's overdriving the race car from what it can handle.
Yeah.
These next gen cars are pretty finicky, and if you try to overdrive them, it's going to get you in trouble. And I think that's what Kyle Busch is doing. He's trying to get more out of the car that it can deliver, and it's got him in trouble.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
If I would have told you, though, that he wouldn't
He
have
can
had...
still drive.
Oh, no, we know that. But if I would have came to you at the beginning of the year and said he hadn't won a race already, you wouldn't have... I mean, you know, that's not...
He didn't win a race all of last year, which was the first time in his whole career that happened.
And we kind of thought maybe the change of team would probably be the way that would, you know, spark... I don't know. I
just
thought
don't think the RCR cars are as fast
they
as...
aren't. They're just... they haven't been as fast.
Hendrick and Penske.
Well, Gibbs seems to be Gibbs all the time.
Kirk,
right?
are you thinking about going down to CMS this weekend?
I'm not going to be able to make it down there tonight because I got my niece in town watching or playing softball. But I'll be back for sure. Be back down there for the Tom Wilson Memorial Race.
Right.
You think about driving down there tonight?
I'm thinking about driving down there tonight.
I think the weather is going to hold off as far as we know.
Yep. Look, like I
everything
said,
should be
just
good.
a little rain this afternoon, and then
The track will be tacky.
yeah, they won't have to add any water today. They probably be all right on. Well, I won't say that. They'll still have to put some water on.
It's like Eldora Speedway had a lot of juice in it last night, didn't it?
It did.
Let me pull up the latest weather real quick here for AccuWeather.
No tornadoes.
No tornadoes.
I
Boy,
took shelter from a tornado the other day.
that's what I told
Hey,
Kirk
Kirk,
Elliott.
you went to the...
They saw a tornado out by the Truman Sports Complex, which
Yeah.
is just a little bit west from where I live. They sounded the sirens the other day, and I didn't see it coming.
Is it
And
EF?
so I'm looking at, I'm watching the Channel 9 coverage on TV, and
Hey.
Brian Busby is on the air saying, okay, we're all taking cover here in our Channel 9 studios.
Hey,
and
Kirk.
if you know where that's located, it's
Kirk.
located
By you.
just due southwest of where I live. And I'm thinking, okay, if they're taking the basement, I think I better pay attention
Kirk,
to what's going on.
when they asked you, who are you?
Oh no, I went up to the office of where I live up there, and I'm walking into down in the basement. I walked down in the basement where the office staff.
You
"Who
lived
are
there
you?"
35 years.
Said I've been here a long time, so it was all good.
35 years
But
Kirk's
anyway,
lived there in that apartment.
it's only the second time I've taken cover from a tornado since I've lived here for 39 years.
Yeah, it was. Something
The
else.
other time was back in 2008 when, in the middle of the night, when I took to the bathtub and a twister went right over the top of me, if you remember that.
It blew Arby's out of...
Took out the Arby's right northeast
It
of where
blew
I
it across the
Yeah.
street, didn't it, Kirk?
That was a big one. That was a close call. But we're thinking of everybody that's had to dodge these tornadoes and thunderstorms and everything out there. We've been pretty fortunate, but we're still safe here and where we're located. We're in a safe place.
You worry about the studio, don't you?
Well, this is where we would be to take shelter.
I was going to say
right?
we're in the basement, so
Yeah,
I'm
we're in
I'm
good shape here.
I'm the least worried in this building.
But no worries about that today, Todd?
No,
No,
nah.
so-
We got a little, like I said, around 1 o'clock locally around here. We're going to have a little bit of rain, but it's going to clear off, keep the day cool. It's going to be a little stickier tomorrow, so a little bit warmer tomorrow, and then it looks like not another chance of rain until late in the week, so should be fine. Everybody get out and have fun at the racetrack today. I know Marie said she acted like the tracks up by her were going to be fine. She said Kokomo, is that what it was? I can't remember which one it was, but earlier in the day she said it looks like it's going to be good. So good racing across the country. Hopefully, fingers crossed, everybody can get their races in tonight.
And I see Noah Gregson is one of the first cars out on the track to qualify, and he's so far number one. So there's only been 3 cars out.
I
so
hope
far.
CMS gets the race in tonight.
Yeah,
I think they'll be
so.
fine. I think you're going to be fine, like you said.
Alan Miller, the voice of Central Missouri Speedway, texted here a while ago. He didn't talk about any problems with the weather, so
It's going to be
I think we're
by
gonna be okay.
by 3 o'clock. There ain't going to be anything around. I can't imagine. So I think we're going to be good. I like the weather. The temperatures. It's going to be a nice, cool afternoon, and
we haven't
shouldn't
really
have
had the definitely
Boy,
hot
it's
summer weather yet, right?
It's crazy because we only had one day, where we got a hot day. It was almost 90 one day, but we're in June and we're not even haven't even broke out my AC's on at the house, obviously, but boy, I tell you what, at night it sure drops pretty chilly. I came in here this morning and it was debating whether to bring a jacket in or not. When I got in, it was fine as wine here, but had a little rain. It was pouring down rain when I rolled in this morning, Scott. It was big raindrops.
Yeah, I drove up here in the rain today. So here's the schedule for Michigan. Today, we got the Cup Series qualifying going on as we speak. And coming up later this afternoon, we got the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series at 11 o'clock our time. And then tomorrow we've got the Cup Series. I think that race starts at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I think, 2 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Central time at Michigan Speedway. So
should be a good race. Big 2 miles, that. Right?
What do you think about the trucks at Michigan? We don't normally see the trucks at Michigan.
It'll be a good race today. Is that an afternoon or an evening race, Kirk?
It says here 11 o'clock.
So should be rolling here pretty soon, right after the qualifying then, obviously.
Mark Olson says thoughts and prayers to Willie.
Yeah, Willie Harmon, just one of our old-time friends. Here, we're thinking about you, Willie. Anyway, he used to be a regular caller on our show back in the day.
We don't take phone calls anymore, do we?
Well, we haven't.
We can.
We
could.
If we wanted to.
We should take more phone calls, should we, Kirk?
Well, we'll, anybody wants to chime in, we're always happy to have them.
Hey, Todd.
Yes, sir. I'll bring that next week. I'll have those graphics up, and we'll just keep the phone number at the bottom of the page.
We don't talk about drag racing all that much on this show. We brought up, the Flying H drag strip out at I-70 Speedway that we hope has a NHRA national event here maybe next year. But today they're at Thunder Valley, Bristol, Tennessee for the drag races. And yesterday they had Friday night qualifying. Sean Langdon was the number one qualifier so far in Top Fuel, 3.800 at 328 miles an hour. Number one in funny car, Alexis DeJoria at 398 with a 4. And in Pro Stock, Dallas Glenn. And in Pro Stock motorcycle, Braden Davis. Up at Epping, New Hampshire last week, I see that Erica Enders finally made a final in Pro Stock. She'd been really struggling in Pro Stock this year. Greg Anderson, coming off his championship last year, looked like he had everybody's number. But good to see that Erica and that Elite Motorsports team finding some speed out of their Pro Stockers.
3.80 is pretty fast for a Top Fuel car.
3.800 at Thunder Bay. That track at
328 mile an hour.
Right. That track sits out just right by the half mile, and it's surrounded by hills and mountains, and the noise that generates off that is more so than most other drag strips you go to. But a little bit of a rough racetrack at Bristol, but should be some pretty good action there this weekend. You can watch all of that on FS1 and Fox this weekend if you like the
Alex
drag racers,
DiGiorno is 3.94, 328 mile an hour.
Alexis DeJoria.
Alexis.
She won a U.S. Nationals one time. You remember that?
Yep.
So she's a pretty accomplished drag racer. But Tony Stewart made the finals again last weekend. He is the current leader in Top Fuel. And Tony's even if he's not winning, he's making the finals at a lot of these places. So you have to consider that is Tony the favorite to win the Top Fuel Championship this year? I would say right now he probably is.
Tony Stewart went 5.755.
He didn't get down the racetrack, it looked like to me.
He went 121 mile an hour.
Yeah, something broke.
Yeah, it looks like Tony had trouble getting down the racetrack if he posted just a 5.77. But a lot of guys didn't get down the racetrack. If you look...
blowing the tires
seems
off?
Seems to me that you're looking at the 14 top fuel cars on the list here, that only the top 8 made it down the race, or at least got below the 4-second mark.
Antron Brown got DQ'd.
What happened to him?
I'm not sure what happened to him.
I missed that part. That's not good. He's the defending Top Fuel champion. So we'll look into that. So we'll watch a little drag racing. Indy cars are in St. Louis tonight at the Worldwide Technology Raceway. So what do you think's going to happen there?
Indy in St. Louis.
Indy in St. Louis.
I don't know.
On the street course?
No, they're at the Worldwide
actual...
Technology Raceway tonight. It's under the lights.
Under the lights?
You can watch it on Fox tonight.
So they had a penalty in that race last week, didn't they, Kirk? We have that story on our Facebook page, on our homepage, and Indy announced that that post-race.
That was a real cluster F. You know what?
It was
last week in Detroit. I don't know if that that course is not set up right. It's dangerous.
We talked about how number 14 car finished second in that race, and then he had a lot of violations, didn't he, Kirk? He was, however, during inspection,
Santino Ferrucci.
Yeah, Ferrucci. He was 10 pounds over the minimum weight.
That ain't good.
Rule 14.42, driver equivalency weight. Weight must be combined. So his weight plus the weight of the car, everything. So he was able to keep a second place finish, however, but the entry has been fined $25,000, forfeit 25 championship points. The bonus point for lead the lap was not awarded. The 14 is also ineligible for engine points and prize money associated with that race. So,
Alex Palou is going to win the championship again.
Yeah, but boy, they had a big interview with him, Ferrucci, and everything after that race and everything, and it kind of sucks to find out that everything was.
Were you a little surprised?
We're big fans of Santino.
Yeah,
I've seen him down at the Chili Bowl.
Yeah, he's a Chili Bowl.
Were you a little surprised by the outcome of the Indianapolis 500?
No, I didn't pick Alex Palou, but we shouldn't be. We shouldn't be surprised that Alex Palou won the Indy 5. I may be surprised to a lot of people because that's his first oval track win.
Absolutely,
Alex Palou had
never been on an oval race before, and you win the 500. That's
but he won every other race on the circuit.
Yep.
So
my pick was out before even the race, Kirk. Mine was out during hot laps.
Right.
He was trying to warm his tires up and crashed out.
Scott McLaughlin.
I was like, well, then my day's done. So my backup was in there,
and my pick was Scott Dixon. He had trouble right before the race started too.
So, like you said, it was all for naught. But I don't know. It was that race last week. Hopefully, this week will make Indy feel a little bit better because last week's race was kind of ho-hum.
I think I'll get my IndyCar fix here in a few weeks. They're going to come to Iowa Speedway in July, so maybe
I was thinking about maybe seeing about going up there for that too.
There's 2 races that weekend. They got one on Saturday and one on Sunday.
One on Sunday.
So why not?
That'd be a close enough place to go and watch a little Indy racing. The bees is what it sounds like when they roll around that track.
So anyway,
like
we cover it all on this show. We don't talk just about dirt racing. We talk drag racing, IndyCar, NASCAR,
motorcycle. We don't care. If you're racing, we'll talk.
A lot of listeners may get tuned out at that time, but we're at the end of the show anyway.
Oh yeah,
so
we're past due. We're good.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning into Track Talk. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. We want to thank our guests, Jonathan Davenport, Kevin Thomas Jr.
And Monday, we got Ryan Timms.
On the
show. We'll see if he can get it done again tonight at Knoxville. Also, we're going to see if Bobby Pierce can pull it off at Eldora. He's won the last 2 Eldora Crown Jewels, the Dirt Track World Championship last fall. He won the World 100 also last year. And he seems to me like he is the favorite along with Jonathan Davenport. Josh Rice, how big would that be if he could duplicate what he did last night in the preliminary? So we'll be watching the Dirt Late Model Dream tonight. That's probably the biggest race of the day to watch out at Eldora Speedway.
Kirk Lance DeWeese tops the All-Stars at Williams Grove.
Oh, yeah, we forgot about that. He started up front. I think he led the whole way up there.
Right.
Surprise, surprise, Lance DeWeese winning at Williams Grove. Who would have thought it?
Who would have thought
well,
it?
If you put Lance DeWeese up on the pole, he's probably going to have a pretty good chance to win, and that he did last night. So congratulations to Lance DeWeese for winning. And they had another race, 410 sprint car race last night at Attica Raceway Park that was on Dirt Vision last night as well. And Jordan Ryan came through with that feature victory, so congratulations to
We want to
Jordan
give
Ryan.
a shout-out to John Sheets, who picked up the win last night at Lakeside Speedway.
The Bob Reber Memorial Race.
Right.
Of course, we all miss Bob. Bob was a big person in racing around the area who unfortunately passed away about a year ago. He was a flagman up at I-35 Speedway and did more things for more people in racing around these parts, and I never heard Bob Reber complain about anything. He was just a great guy. We miss him dearly, and it was great that they honored Bob last night out at Lakeside with the memorial race out there, and that's a pretty cool thing.
All right, thanks everybody for tuning into Track Talk. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. We want to thank our guests, Jonathan Davenport, Kevin Thomas Jr., for Todd Surprise, for Kirk Elliott. I'm Scott Traylor. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week right here on Track Talk.
Go harder, faster, stronger with Rod End Supply. Whether you are running industrial, farming equipment, or a race car, Rod End Supply has the assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products that will help you lead the field in performance. Our superior design means our rod ends last longer and perform better, giving you the edge on the track and saving you money. Contact Rod End Supply or order online today at rodendsupply.com. We don't just sell them, we race them. rodendsupply.com. Serving the racing community for over 30 years.